Hello everyone and welcome to Merlin's Manor. Today I'm going to be previewing 10 Plagues the card game, which is a set collection game for 2 to 4 players from Peace and Love Games. Now Peace and Love Games design and publish biblically themed games. Their mission is to create a series of games that meld the events of the Bible and bring the themes to life to modern board games that are approachable for all ages. The game I have today is a prototype, so I won't be focusing too much on the components. And there's also some minor rules changes that they're going to be making along the way. Let's go ahead and get into a gameplay overview. It's a very simple game, has very similar main mechanic to games like Rummy and Phase 10. You're going to have a deck of cards with 10 plagues, which basically represent the suits, and you're going to have numbers from 1 to 10. You're going to basically draw a card either from the deck or from a discard pile. You're then going to discard a card, and you're going to claim a pyramid if you have the ability to do so. And let's take a look at a few of these. We have one here that has 3 cards of the current plague. This is one that you wouldn't be able to get at the very beginning of the game, and it's going to become very reliant on the right plague being up at the right time there. You've got one here which has 1 card from each of the plagues. This one's worth 5 points. As you can see, the point values are in the corner here, and it's a very hard one to get. You also have one here. Each card in hand is numbered 6 or higher, and so you're going to be using every card in your hand for this one as well as like the last one did, and you're going to have to get them like that. There's one that's for 5 or lower as well. You got one like this, which you are trying to get 4 different plague cards, totaling exactly 21 points. You got one here, 3 cards straight with only 1 plague. So it's the same suit, but in a straight. You got 5 cards here that are the same number. And here's another one. You're going to want a mix of darkness and or death of the firstborn and 5 different cards of those. And so you've got all these different types of things. Those are just a few of them that you're going to be looking for. You can see that you're going to get some that are going to require different plagues, some that are going to require the same plague, some that are going to be focused on getting a straight or the same numbers, some of them adding up. And so there's all kinds of different types of pyramids that you're going to try to score by getting different types of melds. If you claim a pyramid card, then an event is going to come out in order of the plagues 1 through 10. There is also a variant that you can play once you kind of get used to that if you want to mix things up a bit, where you actually shuffle the different plagues together and they're going to come out in a random order. Play will continue until all 10 plagues have been experienced, and then you're going to shuffle in the Exodus card, which is going to come out anywhere. You don't know exactly when it's going to come out because it's shuffled in. You shuffle that into the rest of the deck, so any cards that were currently in the discard pile or tomb, which is where cards go when you play them as a meld, are going to be discarded, and so you're going to have a fairly small deck by that point in time, but you're going to then kind of randomly kind of keep going around the table trying to score the last few pyramids that you can before that card comes up. And that's the gameplay. It's fairly simple. The ease of access for this game, it's very easy to get into. The rules can be learned in a couple minutes. If you have played games like Rummy or Phase 10, you already know the core concepts. The difference is you're going to be trying to each turn to meet requirements for the various pyramids, and so you're not going to have a very set thing that you're going after. Like Rummy, you're going after cards in a run or of the same number. Well, here you're going to have a bunch of different options that you're going to be focusing on, and those are going to change out throughout the game. The one that you were trying for might not be out when you come back, but it's still a very simple concept to learn and get in there. It plays very quickly in 30 to 40 minutes. Regardless of player count. It doesn't seem to add any time if you have more players, because the end game is based around when 10 people have or 10 pyramids have been claimed. You start going into that last run there, and so the time frame is going to be the same generally, no matter the player count. The theme, I like that it has a biblical theme. It teaches the 10 plagues. When it comes to cards, any theme could have been used. Any theme would have fit here. And so the theme doesn't really stand out as much in the cards in the deck themselves. However, the theme comes out a lot more in the event cards that come up. Each plague has its own kind of thematic effect. And so here's the back of the plague cards. Is the top of the pyramid. It's kind of cool how it also kind of sets out as a pyramid with the different pyramid cards and other things that set out on the table. And so the first one's going to be blood. And so that's going to come out, and it's going to have something that's going to happen based on that. And each one's going to do something. you've got frogs, you've got lice, you've got wild beasts, pestilence, boils, and I want to point out real quick here, maybe not be the best one, I'm going to go on to the next one, hail. If you can see here, you've got the English word and you've got the Hebrew word there. That's pretty cool as well on there. Then you're going to have locusts. You're going to have darkness. And finally, death of the firstborn. And so each of those is going to have a different way that's going to kind of throw kind of a wrench in your plans there. Some of them are more thematic than others. Pestilence is very thematic in that you're going to have to get rid of 3 animal cards out of your hand. And so that can kind of throw you for a loop there, but you've got a lot of that theme coming out in that one. Another one that kind of is, I find thematic is hail. Is when that's going to come down, each player is going to destroy a different pyramid card. You've got locusts are going to come and devour some of your cards there, getting rid of some cards out of your hand. You've got darkness. You're going to have to close your eyes and pick a card at random out of your hand. And then you got the death of the firstborn, perhaps one of the most thematic cards in the game, is you're actually going to take the highest card in your hand and get rid of that, and now you're only going to have a 9-card hand instead of a 10-card hand for the rest of the game. And so we see a lot of the theme coming out in the events there. Now the components, I'm not going to go into detail too much on the quality because I don't know what the final quality is going to be as far as that goes, but I do want to point out a few things that I liked about the components. We've got the player reference cards here that has all the different icons here, and then it's got the English word, the transliteration, and the Hebrew word there. And so that's kind of cool. On the back side, you've got a very simple rundown of what you need to do on your turn. And so that's very easy to follow along with there and make sure you are doing everything as you ought to do. And I always enjoy a good player reference card that helps break down your turn. It's got a very clean, simple look to all the cards. Let's just show you some of the cards here. You can see the icons very clearly. You've got kind of a color coding going on as well to each of the cards. And so I just find them to have a very clean look to them. Very easy to follow. The things stand out. Nice artwork that's very fitting for the game all throughout. The iconology is very easy to follow for the most part. The pyramids can come a little bit difficult to follow in some places, but the writing's on there to tell you exactly what you need to do. Let's get into the gameplay itself. It's very luck-based, with a little strategy coming in as you plan which cards you're going to keep. Especially, I'd say it's more strategic in a 2-player game rather than a 3 or 4-player game, because you know only at most one event's going to come out between your turns, only one pyramid's going to at most be taken between your turns, and so you can kind of plan for your next turn a lot easier. You might even be able to plan for 2 pyramids coming up a little bit to start working towards the second pyramid. Whereas in a 3 or 4-player game, first of all, you're going to have potentially 2 or 3 different events come out between your turns, and so that may change your hand a lot. It's also going to, as people claim pyramids, that's going to change a lot between turns. And so I find 3 and 4-player count less strategic ability there, whereas a 2-player game, you're very much being able to plan a lot more because a lot less is happening between your turns there. Now, if you're not into games that have a high luck to skill ratio, this game might not be for you. But if you don't mind that high luck kind of coming in throughout the game, then you'll probably enjoy this game. If you enjoy games like Rummy, like Phase 10, those types of games, you'll enjoy this game as well. It's going to add an extra wrinkle of strategy there as you are trying to figure out not just a very basic kind of melds, but you got all these different melds going on that you're kind of keep track of. Different things along the way, they're going to kind of throw a little bit of a monkey wrench in there for you to try and you're going to figure out the best way to overcome that. There's a little bit more strategy, I'd say, involved in this game than the traditional Rummy Phase 10 type games, but it has that same core mechanism, and a lot of that luck that you find in those games, you're going to find in this game as well. And so keep that in mind as you try and decide if this is a game that's right for you. As far as replayability goes, as someone who grew up playing card games like Rummy, Spades, Hearts, Uno, so on and so forth, over and over again, and really enjoyed those games, never really kind of got tired of those games as I would play them, I can find there's a decent amount of replayability found in the simplicity and the quickness of the game, and in the random order of cards and pyramid cards coming up, despite there not being a ton of variability throughout the game. And so while the replayability isn't there from the variability aspect, from that kind of simplicity and that random card draw, I can find a decent amount of replayability for those who enjoy those types of simple card games. It's a fun, simple game that plays in about 30 minutes. It is highly luck-based, but can be enjoyable to try to plan out getting the different pyramids, and then you hope that you can get the card that you need, and hope that that pyramid that you were going after is still there, and hope that a plague doesn't come in and mess you up. And of course, you're always going to want to be planning for a backup plan in case any of those things do happen. And so I find it very enjoyable to try and work through all of that, and that tension of trying to hope that you're going to be able to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish there with the cards. We've really enjoyed this game so far in the playthroughs that we've had, and I can foresee us enjoying it in the long run as well. And so I hope this preview has helped you get an idea of what this game is about, if this game is for you or not. It's a great family weight game, and I highly recommend it for that level as well. As always, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.